7F, welcome to our literacy class for Monday. Now, today we're going to take a bit of a steer off the beaten track. We're going to do a little bit of a review task on word types. This is something that will come in handy with all your work in literacy class, with all your work in English as well. And it is knowledge that often needs to be revisited because it's easy to forget, even though we talk all day and all night and we write all the time. It is easy to forget about word types. And it is knowledge well worth revisiting, especially when we're trying to increase our vocabulary. If we know what types of words we're dealing with, that's only going to strengthen our vocab as we go. So our learning intention for today is to gain an understanding of common word types. Now this will all start to sound familiar very soon, I'm sure. So your first success criteria is I can explain what a noun and a pronoun are. So you've got noun there. I'm going to underline that one. And pronoun as well. They are examples of a word type. I can explain what a verb and an adverb is. So verb, I'm going to underline as well, and adverb. Now we'll save this presentation to this post. So if you want to re-access this work, you can do it that way. You can also just pause this video if you wish to. And finally, I can explain what an adjective is. Okay, so I want you to research these today. I'm going to do a little bit of research myself, but your research will look slightly different. Basically, I need to revisit this information for myself. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about it, and then I want you to do the same thing. Now, as you do your research, if you find definitions or explanations that make no sense to you, keep looking. Okay, an explanation you don't understand is useless. But with just a little bit of trying, I'm sure we'll be able to find some information on the internet that's going to help us work out what these things are. So first things first, nouns and pronouns. Do some research, okay? I'm going to head over to my friendly DuckDuckGo browser. Google is also another good browser you can use. And I'm simply going to ask it, what is a N-O-U-N? What is a noun? The part of speech that is used to name a person, place, or thing, quality or action, and can function as the subject or object of a verb, the object of a preposition, or an appositive. Now, part of that I understand. The part of speech that is used to name a person, place, or thing. That's probably the main thing. Okay, now the rest of that I read, but it didn't all make sense to me. So that part became useless to me. But this bit here, this is useful information. So in your research, that's the kind of thing I want you to dig out, and that I want you to put in your book. So in your book, you need to define noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, and adjective. So right now, if I was writing this in my book, I would put in that part there and I would know exactly what a noun is. Okay, now pronoun is related. So let's have a look. A pronoun is defined as a word or phrase that is used as a substitution for a noun or noun phrase, which is known as the pronoun's antecedent. Okay, so we're getting into some tricky territory here. We've got substitution, we've got antecedent. I'm not too sure about these words, so I might try for another definition. Let's see what we can get here. What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun. Examples, he or she or it, they, someone. Okay, so I'm dealing with a definition here that is a little bit more useful to me. So this is the one I'm going to take a look at. So a pronoun. Let's have a look at that again. Examples, he, she, it, they, someone, who. Okay, so a noun might be Patrick, so a person, place, or thing. I'm a person, so Patrick would be the noun, but you wouldn't always have to say, oh, Patrick is catching the bus. You could say he is on the bus, so the he takes the place of the noun, and that makes it a pronoun. I like it. I think that makes sense to me. Okay, so that is the kind of definition that I would be writing into my book if I were you. So we had a noun, that is a person, place, or thing. We had a pronoun, a word that can be used to take the place of a person, place, or thing. Cool. Let's move on. Verbs and adverbs. Now I'm going to switch over to Google this time. What is a verb? Ding. Now Google will always give you a straight up definition. And we've got something else here from a high hit web page. Let's see if I can find Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is my friend. Wiki! Wiki, wiki! Okay, so this is Wikipedia. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about verbs. A verb is a kind of word that tells about an action or a state. It is the main part of a sentence. Every sentence has a verb. In English, verbs are the only kind of word that changes or show past or present tense. Interesting. Let's have a look if we've got some examples down here. Kinds of verbs. So we've got fell. So I guess it's like an action word. So we've got some examples here, but we've got a lot of these really big extra words like, auxiliary, negotiation, modal auxiliaries. We're getting a bit too deep into the research here, so Wikipedia's not really helping me at the moment. So let's just see what we get when we get a definition. A word used to describe an action, state, or occurrence, and forming the main part of the predicate of a sentence, such as here, become, happen. Okay, so predicate is not a helpful word to me, but describing an action, state, or occurrence, I can deal with that. Okay, so an action is something happening. A state, that's like how you can be, like hungry, or an occurrence. A little bit trickier on occurrence. I'd really like to find a list of examples. I think that's going to help me here. So examples of common verbs. Let's see if that gets me any more useful. Okay, so 100 most common English verbs list. Maybe. Let's have a look. So I really want you to keep looking until you're happy with the definition that you find. So 100 most common English verbs list. We've got to be, were and been, to have, had and had. Okay, these are all right to me, but I've got two words here, and I'm kind of trying to find a word that is a verb, not two words that is a verb. So I'm going to look a little bit further. So maybe not common verbs, maybe just verbs. Okay, this is a useful list to me. Okay, so we've got action verbs here. Run, dance, slide, jump, think, do, go, stand. So I can appreciate these as actions, and that is a useful definition for me. So I've always thought of a verb as being a doing word. So I guess at the moment I'm doing some research. So I can run, I can dance. If it's a thing that I can do, then I'm probably dealing with a verb. Okay, and then we also need to define adverb. So I'm going to head back. We'll go back to our DuckDuckGo browser and we'll try adverb. The part of speech that modifies a verb, an adjective, another adverb, or an entire clause or sentence. Again, we've got some big words in there that are not really helping me out just yet. Any of the words belonging to this part of speech, such as so, very, and rapidly. Okay, so that's a little bit more helpful. Let's see what we've got over here. An adverb is a word or an expression that modifies a verb. Okay, so we know a verb is the action word. So adverbs typically express the manner, place, time, frequency, degree, level, or certainty, etc. Answering questions such as how, in what way, when, where, etc. Okay, this looks like it might be useful. Let's see where that came from. All right, so I've got some examples here, which is actually a little bit more useful for me. Let's see if we can nut this one out. She sang loudly. Loudly modifies the verb sang, indicating the manner of singing. Okay, so these words like loudly, here, yesterday, these are the adverbs. So we left it here. Left is what you did. That's the action, your verb, and how you did it, or where you did it in this case, is the adverb. I worked yesterday. Okay, so this gives us an indication of the time. You often make mistakes. So mistake is what you do. Often modifies the verb phrase make mistakes, indicating the frequency. He undoubtedly did it. So I guess if we were working with an action word like run, you might say he ran fast. So fast would be the adverb in that situation. So the verb is what is happening. The verb is the action word, and the adverb tells you how it was done. So I might jump on the trampoline, but if I jump really high on the trampoline, really and high become the adverbs, and high especially becomes the adverb. All right, what am I up to? One to go. Adjective. Let's get back to Google. What is an adjective? A word naming an attribute of a noun, such as sweet, red, or technical. All right, so if we were back at noun, nouns were names of things, peoples, places, those sorts of things. So if I thought of a place like Ballarat, and I give it an attribute, so Ballarat is beautiful, Ballarat is cold. These words here would be the adjectives. So this is the noun, Ballarat, and this is a descriptor. So we'll just double check that. A word naming an attribute of a noun, such as sweet, red, or technical. Yeah, so we could go, Ballarat is red. It doesn't make as much sense, does it? Mr. Cleary's face is red. Cool. So this is the noun. I think these are both nouns here because you've got Mr. Cleary. That's a person, place, or thing. Face as well is a person, place, or thing. And red would be the descriptor, the adjective, or the attribute of the adjective. Awesome. Okay, so in your workbooks today, to be successful, you need to be able to explain what a noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, and adjective is. I want you to do your own research and find some definitions and examples that are useful to you. You can use the research I've shown in this video, by all means, but don't use it if it doesn't make sense to you. Okay, I want you to do some peeking around the net until you find some information that makes sense to you. Okay, don't just copy and paste in the first thing you find. If it makes no sense to you, it's useless. Do a bit of scrolling, checking, asking mum, find a definition that actually is meaningful to you. That's the definition we want to use. And last but not least, we are working with 3 focus words at the moment: validity, plateau, and irregular. And I want you to tell me what kind of words are our current focus words. So are they nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, or adjectives? The words are validity, plateau, and irregular. Now with validity in particular, you might want to work with valid without this suffix. That might help you nut that one out. You are sitting at computers and devices, so you can use the internet to try and work this out as well. But give it a bit of thinking, all right? We've already done our research on noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjective. Do any of these guys fit into any of those categories nice and easily? Give it some thought. So do some thinking, do some checking, okay? And send me an instant message with your thoughts. I'd like to know if you can nut out what type of words these 3 are. Now, there are other types of words. There are lots and lots of types of words. These are the main ones. But if these fall into another category, maybe you can work that out for me. All right, guys, that's everything you need for today. I'm online. Send me a message, and definitely send me a message to tell me what type of words you think these 3 are. Thank you very much.